Hi there. This is lesson 3 of 3 on percentages. We're going to be looking at percentage increase and percentage decrease. And we're also going to be looking at VAT or value added tax. So let's get started. Okay, that's just your book reference. You know all of that, so I'm not going to go through it again. Okay, so we're going to start with 5 quick multiple choice questions. And what I want you to do is when you think you know the answer, I want you to put the letter in the chat, but don't press enter. And I'll tell you when to press enter so everybody does it at the same time. Your first question is coming up now, and you're going to have 30 seconds. Halfway. Remember, if you're putting your answer in the chat, don't press enter. I don't want to see the answers yet. In 3, 2, 1, put your answers in the chat. Let's see how many got B. Katie is the only one who is correct. Question 2, again, put your answer in your chat, but don't press enter until I say. Off you go. You're halfway. Three, two, one. Put your answers in the chat. Let's see who got B. Katie is correct. Remember, if you're going round this way, you get to 150, but then you've got to subtract that 150 from 360 degrees, because this way you've got a whole 180 going this way, and then we're adding on an additional 30. Next question, 30 seconds. Oh, I'm giving you 60 seconds. That's very generous of me. You've got an extra 30 seconds on this one. If we're in the classroom, what would I be asking you to draw? See if that helps you. Halfway. Okay, you've got 10 seconds. Do not press enter yet. 3, 2, 1. Press enter. Let's see what you've got. Hopefully, especially if you drew a number line, you will have come up with C 1.6. Question 4. 60 seconds. You're halfway. Get ready by putting your answer in the chat, but do not press enter yet. You can press enter in 3, 2, 1, go. What did you get? Hopefully you got 1/3. Okay, so if Miran gets twice as much as Henry, if Henry's got 1, Miran's got 2. So imagine that Henry had £1, Miran had £2. Altogether, they had £3. So as a fraction, Henry's £1 would be 1 out of £3 in total. So 1/3. Last question coming up. 90 seconds. Gosh, I'm generous today. Off you go. Halfway. Get ready with your answers in the chat. Do not press enter yet. Press enter in 3, 2, 1, go. Right. Last question. I'm really curious. I wish I could see the chat and I knew what you were putting in. Okay, let's have a look at it before I reveal the answer. I would rearrange this. I would multiply both sides by p. Remember, we talk about using the balancing method. Multiply both sides by p. So 12p equals 3. And then I've got 12p, but I only want 1p. So I'm going to divide both sides by 12. So p would then be on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, I would have 3 over 12. I might have actually, I can't remember if I gave a little help on this one. And 3 over 12 simplifies down to 1/4, which as a decimal is 0.25. So there you go. I'm really curious to see who got that one right. Let's keep moving on. So before we move on to our instructional video today, we're going to do 3 Hegarty maths quizzes. Let me talk you through what we are doing. So first one, right, there's 3 quizzes. The first 2 quizzes, you're going to need a calculator. Third quiz, you do not need a calculator. So I'm just going to show you on this. I think this is my son's calculator. He's obviously taken my decent one and given me his old scruffy one, but let's hope it works. So if I said I'm converting a fraction to a decimal, and let's say my fraction was 3 over, better work. Okay, hopefully you can see. Can you see that just about? 3 over 7, yeah? I'm going to press equals, but oh, look what happens. It still gives me 3 over 7 as the answer. Now, luckily, at the top of the screen, you'll see I've written, remember the button S to D. Okay, so we press the SD button and you get your answer as a decimal. Now, depending on the question on Hegarty, it will tell you how many decimal places you need to give your answer to. So, for example, for this one, if it was to 3 decimal places, it would be 0.429 because the 5 would round the 8 up to a 9. It's really hard reading that backwards. Okay. All right. So you've got 10 minutes for that quiz. And then after you've done that quiz, 74, you're going to move on to 76. It's very similar, but this time we're going from fractions to percentages. So you've got two choices. Say, let's just stick with this same one, 3/7. We've got it as a decimal. Remember what we need to do to convert from a decimal to a percentage. Literally, all I need to do is multiply by 100 and I get my answer. Again, you can see it's shown the answer as an improper fraction. So I need to press my SD button and it's going to give me 42.857. Again, the questions on Hegarty will tell you how many decimal places to round to. So that is my percentage answer. Remember, to get from a decimal to a percentage, we use the Beyonce method and we multiply by 10 twice effectively. So we move to the left, okay? Right, third one. So you got 10 minutes for that one. The third one, you do not need your calculator for that one. It's number 84 and it's percentages of an amount. So that's what you did in the previous lesson, lesson 2 of percentages. So I've given you half an hour in total to work through those quizzes. You're going to be doing them as classwork. They're not set as homework. They need to be done during the lesson time, please. And I will then review them later on today. So you've got half an hour now. So you need to pause the video so you can crack on with that. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So as soon as you have finished those 3 quizzes, then come back onto the YouTube channel and just press play again. Right, so I'm going to move on to increasing and decreasing percentages. So when might we increase by a percentage? And can we think of any other words for increase? So feel free to pop those in the chat now. Let's have a look at what you've got. So why might you increase something? Okay, so the amount of sales that you do might go up. That might increase by a particular percentage. You often hear house prices being spoken about with percent. Oh, there's been a 6% increase in 2020 on the average house price, blah, blah, blah. Salaries typically go up by a percentage as well, 2%, 3%, what have you. And profits can also be measured by percentage increase or sadly decrease as well. So other words for increase, we've got rise, grow, add, higher, growth, profit, etc. Okay, what about reducing? Why might things reduce in value and therefore they are represented by a percentage reduction? And what other words can you think of? Again, please feel free to pop any thoughts in the chat. Okay, so when we have sales, you know, you'll see signs that, won't you, 20% off, 30% off, 50% off. Sometimes even we see 70% off signs. And then another really typical example, you might have heard of a word called depreciation. It's underlined here. When we buy certain things like cars and phones, they're worth a lot more when they're brand new than when they're secondhand. So the value of a car might be £10,000 when you buy it, but 2 years later, it's only worth £5,000. And the same with a phone, it will depreciate, it will go down in value very quickly. So here are some other words: decrease, depreciate, we've talked about, lower, fall, loss, drop, or discount. Right, so we're going to take a look at my instructional YouTube video now. We're going to watch it in 2 parts. We're going to do percentage increase and decrease first, and then I'll pause it and we'll come on to VAT later. Hi there. Today we're going to be looking at percentage increase and decrease. We're also going to look quickly at VAT, value added tax, starting with percentage increase. So my first question is I'm going to say that James is 140 centimetres tall. He's going to grow by 5% in 1 year. So I want to know what his increase in height is and what is his new height. How tall is he now? Okay, so I really like this method. It's very simple, and I use it mostly when I'm looking at percentage increase and decrease. It's called original, change, new. Okay, so I always write those three little headings: original, change, and new. And then I fill in the gaps. So I know that the original, my original is always 100%. My change is that he's grown by 5%. So he has got bigger, taller by 5%, so plus 5%. So his new percentage is 105%. I know that he started at 140 centimetres, so that is my original. And I want to calculate my change and my new. So firstly, we want to find what 5% of 140 centimetres is. So we want to find 5% of 140 centimetres. Now, from my previous lesson, you'll know there's a couple of different methods. This time, I'm going to use the method that I'm going to say that 100% is 140 centimetres. It's exactly what we've said here. 100% is 140 centimetres. I can therefore divide by 10. So I can say, that 10% is 14 centimetres, and I can divide by 2 to find my 5% is 7 centimetres. So dividing by 2 tells me that my 5% is 7 centimetres. So my change is a positive change of 7 centimetres. So I've got my original, I've got my change. I can work out that my new height is 147 centimetres. Let's do the same again, but this time with a percentage decrease. Okay, so let's say it's a nice hot sunny day and the little ice cream kiosk in Wanstead Park sells 1,200 ice creams on a Sunday. But the people who order in the ice creams, they need to make sure they've got enough so they don't run out. But they know the next day is a Monday. And on Mondays, they typically sell 30% less. So let's use that same system again. Original, change, and new. Again, I'm just going to quickly underline those. Keep it nice and neat so I understand what I'm doing. Remember, my original is my 100%. But this time, on Monday, I'm selling less. So my change this time is negative. 100% subtract 30% means that my new percentage is going to be 70%. Let's look at the information I've got. I've sold 1,200 ice creams on a Sunday. I want to reduce that by 30%. So I need to find 30% of 1200. Let's write it down as we did with question 1. I want to find 30% of 1200. This time I'm going to use my other method. You may recall I write 30% as a fraction, 30 over 100, and then I'm going to multiply it by the number of ice creams, 1,200. And I think I'll do a little bit of simplifying to make my life easier. I'm also going to write that as 1,200 over 1 to make sure that I don't make any mistakes when I multiply it out. So I can simplify here. 30 over 100 simplifies to 3/10. And also I can do a little bit of cross cancelling here. So I can divide 1,200 by 10 and the 10 that was remaining by 10. So I've now got 3 lots of 120 over 1 multiplied by 1. So I've got 360. That's not my answer. That's my change, my reduction in sales. So I need to subtract 360 because my change is that I sell 30% less. So I have 1,200. I'm subtracting 360. That gives me 840 ice creams that I sell on a Monday. Now, one thing that's really nice with this is there's a really lovely way to check. If you know what 30% of 1,200 is, I could work out 70% of 1,200. So 70 over 100 multiplied by 1,200 over 1. Going to cancel. Down again, I'm left with 7 lots of 120 over 1. 7 12s are 84, so that's 840 over 1, 840. So I can check. I know that 30% plus 70% is going to give me 100%. And 360 plus 840 gives me my 1,200. So I've checked my own work and I know I've got the correct answer. The other thing I can just mention is that I could draw this as a bar model. It's always nice if you can visually represent what you're doing as well. So let's have a look at what we've got here. All right, so all of the ice creams that I sold on the Sunday are 1,200, and I want 30%. I know that 30% is my reduction, and 70% is how many I'm therefore going to sell on Monday. So I can split this up into 10. Once again, probably should have drawn it out earlier, but there you go. Gives you time to draw it down as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I know that if I've got 1,200 in total, and I'm sharing it equally into these 10 equal parts, I'm going to write 120 in each one. So I've got 120 in each of my 10 equal parts. And now visually, it's really nice that you can see that 30% is 3 lots of 120, which is my 360. And 70% is 7 lots of 120, which is my 840. Okay, so hopefully that's also a really nice way of visually representing it. Right, we're just going to quickly look at VAT. I'm going to pause it there and we'll come back to VAT. Let's just go back into my PowerPoint. Right, okay, so if you haven't already done so when we were doing the Hegarty, you might have had some time to take a break then before coming back to the YouTube video. If you haven't, please do take a break now. And remember, obviously, we'll be doing our Google Meet at either 10 o'clock or 1 o'clock as well. So pause it and take a break if you need to. Otherwise, I'm going to continue. Right, so time for you guys to do some work. You have 10 minutes to work through these questions. Good luck. Off you go. Here are your answers to questions 1, 2 and 3. So please pause the video and mark your work, and we're going to move on to the next questions. You have 10 minutes to work through these 3 questions. Good luck. Right, apologies for that. And now let's have a look and see how you got on. So the answers to question 4 is £410. That's a percentage reduction of 18%. Question 5, an increase of 7% takes us to £40,660. And question 6, we are reducing by 25%. So 540 reduces to 405 centimetres cubed. Right, couple more questions quickly, 6 minutes, good luck. Okay, your time's up. Let's hear how you got on with the last two questions. Okay, so 9A is 120 centimetres, 9B is 138 centimetres, 10A, 40,800, and 10B, 37,536. For question 9A, so you start, this is your original, you start with 100 centimetres, you increase it by 20% to 120 centimetres, and then you increase it again. So this now becomes your original amount, your 100%. So you want 15% of 120, which you then add on to get your 138 centimetres. Okay. Right, we're just going to finish off watching the rest of the instructional video, and we're looking at VAT now. Find most things that you buy in the shops already have the VAT added. It's kind of invisible, and you don't necessarily know how much of what you're buying, what proportion of that is tax. However, sometimes if you go somewhere like Costco, some of you might have been to Costco, they will price everything without the VAT, excluding VAT, and then the VAT gets added on at the till. So my first example, I'm going to buy a t-shirt, and I'm going to buy it in Costco. And the reason they're a wholesaler, so they tend to sell to businesses rather than individuals, although the individuals can become members. So £15 excluding VAT. So I want to know how much does my t-shirt cost including VAT? So that's my question. How much is my t-shirt going to cost including VAT? I'm going to use exactly the same method. Original, change, and new. My original is my 100%. My change is VAT. Now, in the question will specify the VAT rate to use. At the moment, in the UK, that rate is 20%. Okay, so we need to add on, and you'll be given that piece of information. We're going to add on 20%. So my new percentage is 120%. My t-shirt originally, excluding VAT, before the VAT has been added, is £15. I want to work out what 20% is. So I know that the whole amount, 100%, is £15. So I can work out that 10% is £1.50, and therefore 20%, if I double £1.50, gives me £3. So my change is an increase in £3. So my new price, the cost including VAT, is £18. Now there is a really nice shortcut that we can use, because we know that the new percentage is 120%, we can go straight from 100% to 120%. So the shortcut we can do, if we just asked what the new price is we can say that it's 120%, so 120 over 100 multiplied by the original price, which is £15. Now I might do a little bit of simplifying here. So let's write that as 12 over 10 multiplied by 15 over 1. I could just multiply that out, but I'm going to do a little bit more cross-cancelling. I could simplify that as well. But in this case, I'm just going to divide 15 and 10 by 5. That gives me 3 and 2. So my numerator, 12 multiplied by 3 is 36. 2 multiplied by 1 is 2. So my new price is going to be £18. So I've checked £18. And again, you don't need me because you can mark your own. Last question. As I said, in most shops, VAT is already included in the price. So let's say I'm going to buy a sofa. And let's say it costs £600, including VAT. I want to know how much was the VAT. Now be really careful here because we don't want to think, well, I know that the VAT is 20%. So I know that 20% of 600, well, 10% would be 60. So 20% must be 120. It must be £120. Okay, £120 is wrong. Now that might seem a bit confusing because we've just worked out 20% of £600 is 120. Well, let's follow this same process of original change new to understand why £120 is wrong. So again, let's just get into the habit of writing out those headings. I think I've written them out 4 times. So if I can do it, then you guys can as well. So my original percentage is 100%. I know that my VAT is 20%. And my new is 120%. So this is the really, really important bit. The cost of £600 includes the VAT. So that £600 needs to go in the new column, not in the original column. So my £600 goes here. So now I need to work backwards. I need to work out what my change is, and I need to work out what my original is. So look how it's subtly different when I write out. Here I wrote 100% is £15. This time I'm going to write 120% is £600. Now let's see how I know I need to get back to 100%. So I'm thinking I could divide by 12 to get 10%, or I could divide by 6 and get 20%. So I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides. Now again, if you're not sure, you can break it down. You could divide by 2 and then divide by 3. You don't have to do it all in one go, but 120% divided by 6 gives me my 20%. So it just means I've got slightly less work to do. £600 divided by 6 gives me £100. So now it's fairly straightforward to get to my 100% because I know I've got to multiply by 5. So 20 multiplied by 5 gives me 100%. And 100 multiplied by 5 gives me £500. So my original price, my price excluding VAT, was £500. My change, my plus 20%, was £100. 500 plus 100 give me my £600. So please do not ever get into the trap of just working out 20%. If the price is including the VAT and the VAT is 20%, that £600 is 120%. It's not the original amount. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Okay, hopefully that all made sense. So yeah, really, really important that you recognize that the £600 is 120%, and therefore the question, how much was the VAT? It's not £120, it's £100. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint now and finish off. Okay, so what is value added tax? So it's a tax that goes to the government. It applies to pretty much everything you buy, not absolutely everything, but most things you buy. And in the UK at the moment, it is set at 20%. There is a reduced rate for some goods and services, and there is a zero rate. So there's no VAT, for example, on most food and children's clothes. That's just a little bit of history for you. Now, I spent quite a lot of time trying to work around these 17.5%. And if we were in the classroom, I would show you a really nice trick to do that. But basically, you work out 10%, you halve it to get 5%, you halve it again to get 2.5%, and then you add 10%, 5%, and 2.5% together to get you 17.5%. But it was pretty tricky to do those sums in your head. Okay, so we have 4 minutes now just to work through these two questions. Off you go. Right, your time is up. Let's see how you got on. So we have £16 for part A, the VAT, and £96 the amount including the VAT. Question 8, £3 is the amount of the VAT, and for 8B, £18 including VAT. Nearly there. 4 more minutes. Right, wow. Great effort, guys. So we have our answer for the jacket of £52 for the VAT. Okay, so remembering 120% is the £312, which allows us to get £52, and therefore the price excluding the VAT is £260. Right, okay, well, I think you have deserved a rest after all of that. So please make sure that you have uploaded your work at either 11:15 for the morning session or 2:30 for the afternoon session. If you're late, it's not a problem. Just let me know so that I know that it's coming in late. And remember, I need your Hegarty maths all completed as well. So they're not being set as homework, they're being set as part of your lesson. That's all from me. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you again soon. Thank you very much.